Okay, let me start. This is the first slide, which shows who we are. So it's an alliance of excellence of 5 different research institutions, 4 accelerators, and a big number of global and European networks working on the sustainability transition. And we work with competitively funded projects, deep demonstrations, and acceleration of innovation with the whole ecosystem of innovation and VCs, and of course the science policy interface that is very crucial for the transposition of the policies into implementation using science-driven methodologies. What do we have? So we try to accelerate the sustainability transition. We try to do it under the existing policy framework. The global policy framework, 193 countries have signed it, is the SDG framework, UN Agenda 2030. 17 SDGs, 169 targets, 250 indicators measuring exactly the performance of states, of regions, of municipalities, of cities with regards to the SDGs. And not only that, but now my team has transposed under the UN auspices these 2 businesses and financial institutions, the transposition of the SDG framework into something that companies and financial institutions can use. So sustainability is very well defined, it can be quantified, and it can be measured. And if we go to Europe, you can see on my slide the efforts to transpose this SDG framework into European policy. The European Green Deal, Vasiliki referred to the different aspects of the European Green Deal that are trying to do this transposition with regards to financing, the EU taxonomy, the Corporate Sustainability Directive, the delegated acts with regards to firms that are focused on financial management. And in addition to all this, we have additional regulation in the EU, like the Fit for 55, changing everything that has to do with the energy and the land use system, the 2 big systems of the economy that needs to be transposed in order to get to a sustainable framework. Unfortunately, the last 2 years have not been good for the SDGs globally. And within Europe, on the 9th of December, we announced the report within the report on SDG performance for Europe as UN SDSN Europe. I'm leading this hub with more than 500 member institutions, universities, and research institutions. And basically, what we need here is to accelerate the transition using some framework that is downscaled enough in order to be implemented by countries. And this is exactly what the Global Climate Hub of UNSDSN is doing, is trying to work with governments and local stakeholders to co-design for each and every country in the world very detailed technological, financial, and policy pathways for the transition to climate neutrality. This is our hub. Next COP, COP28, we are presenting the global pathways framework for the transition to sustainability with each and every country. This COP has been okay. I've been there with several engagements. The main thing, the loss and damage. The other main thing, non-state actors were influential. States have not been very able to cooperate and increase their ambition with regards to reducing fuels. Non-state actors said a lot about financial commitments, putting at the heart of the business and financial sector sustainability KPIs and committing big pledges of trillions into this. Let me very quickly give you the results in 3 minutes of some very important reports that we produce in 1 minute. The Lancet Commission that I co-chaired the green recovery, important sectors for the recovery after COVID: energy, agriculture and food sector, housing and urbanization, health sector, research and development, geoengineering. Financing the joint implementation of the SDGs and the European Green Deal. You need to know that the SDGs are an investment program. They identify where the countries have problems, they have low performance, and hence identify where the investment should go. And then you try to streamline the national budget, the European funds that are coming, EU Next Generation, Green and Digital Transition, but also cohesion funds according to SDG low performance. And we show in this report that the European Green Deal and the SDGs framework are very interlinked. However, the European Green Deal is less able to support social cohesion, whereas the SDGs can do that because the SDGs are quite focused on education, upskilling, reskilling, and engaging the local stakeholders, the financial institutions, the companies into this transition. We also show that the allocation of funds in Southern Europe and in Greece from the RFFs were not as efficient as one would want them to be, because they have not been allocated where the low performances are seen. With regards to green financing, one important point that is in this report is that whatever you produce, whatever you consume, needs capital to develop. It needs human capital, it needs produce capital, the accounting capital as we all know it, but it also needs natural capital. And unless you identify and quantify and monetize the natural capital and incorporate it into the business plan and investment decisions of the governments, of the companies, you are never gonna get right the sustainability transition. So we showcase what is the method to monetize natural capital and incorporate that in the decisions of governments, of financial institutions, of companies. Last slide. Companies' performance is very related to ESG. Sound ESG performance is connected with good financial performance. These are our econometric analysis over quite a few years, and improved profit margins and better return on equity ratios. And that's why we have developed a 3-step approach for company ESG and SDG.
We will not have time to ask any questions.
I am following. ESG and SDG transformation. What is important is to identify in a company throughout the value chain the opportunities for profitable ESG and SDG transformation, and implement those and finance those. And while you are increasing the positive footprint on the environment and on the society, you are at the same time increasing financial performance. And this is what the companies need to understand. This is what asset managers need to understand, that it's possible to make the transition without having any negative impact on profitability. But you need to have a holistic method and develop a hybrid metrics that allows you at real time to see the footprint of the changes you impose both on financials, on the society, and on the environment. And this is exactly what we teach
Thank you.
in our course, professional course on ESG, in collaboration with PwC.
Silly stuff.